She asks, "How old are you?" And you think it's small talk. But it isn't. She's not curious about a number. She's curious about a presence. She's asking, without saying it, "Have you made peace with who you are?" She tilts her head just slightly, not to test you, but to see if you're still awake. That's what most men don't see. They hear words, but they miss energy. They answer too fast, afraid of the quiet. But silence is where truth lives. When someone asks about your age, your life, your story, they're not testing you. They're searching for signs of life inside you. They want to see if you are still here, or if you've quietly checked out of yourself. Most men flinch. They turn it into a joke, old enough to know better. And when that doesn't work, they blame the economy. They hide behind charm or sarcasm. But that's not confidence. That's a small shield built from old fear. After loss and failure, you start to carry your years like a secret, protecting them, thinking they make you smaller. But what if that's the very thing that makes you magnetic? There's something powerful about a man who's no longer afraid of his timeline. He doesn't chase youth. He doesn't apologize for his past. He wears time like a badge, not of age, but of awareness. Most men measure time in years. Few measure it in peace. And women, people, feel that. They can sense when a man stands in his life fully, not wishing it were different. It's not about being young, it's about being alive. The man who answers calmly with a small smile and eyes that say, "I'm good where I am," says more than 1,000 clever lines. Because peace speaks louder than perfection. When you've walked through enough storms, you stop trying to look untouchable. You just show up, whole. That's the quiet power people mistake for mystery. I once met a man who said, "I stopped counting birthdays when I started living again." He didn't mean it as a quote. He meant it as a truth. He said it while stirring his coffee, gaze steady, voice calm, like a man who no longer needs to prove anything. No pretension, no chase, just presence. The woman across from him didn't need a punchline. She just smiled, because you can feel when someone's done pretending. That's the thing most older men don't realize. Your attraction, your calm, your energy, they don't fade with time. They fade when you start hiding from yourself. So next time someone asks, "How old are you?" take a breath, don't defend, don't perform. Just answer like a man who owns every year that brought him here. Because maybe the real question isn't about age at all. Maybe it's about whether you finally stopped apologizing for living. Every line on your face is proof you didn't give up. Peace doesn't rush to prove it's still young. It just breathes. The question that tests your peace. She asks, "Why aren't you married?" Maybe she says it with half smile, eyes curious, testing the quiet between you. Most men tense up right there because behind that question, they hear something else. What's wrong with you? The truth is, the question isn't about your past. It's about your frame. She wants to know if you carry your past like a scar or like wisdom. That's where most men stumble. They rush to explain. And the more you explain, the smaller you feel. You don't owe anyone a speech about your solitude. Peace doesn't need defending. It just needs to be lived. There's a quiet power in a man who can smile and say, "I guess I just waited for the right peace before the right person." No edge, no bitterness, just truth. Because being alone for a season isn't the absence of love. It's the presence of clarity. You learned what drains you. You learned who you become when you're trying too hard to be chosen. And now you're done performing. That's what people sense when they meet a man who's whole. There's no chase in his tone, no loneliness in his eyes. He's not waiting to be completed. He's simply available to something real. The older you get, the more you realize marriage was never the measure. Peace was. And when a man finds that, he stops trying to prove he's fine, because he actually is. A friend once told me, "I don't mind being alone. What I mind is people thinking I'm waiting." That line stayed with me, because there's a difference between being alone and being in waiting. One is peaceful, the other is desperate, and the energy never lies. So when someone asks, "Why aren't you married?" don't flinch. Let the silence breathe for a second, then answer from your center, not your fear. Say less, feel more, maybe even smile and say, "Because peace has good company." Because what they're really asking isn't, "Why aren't you taken?" They're asking, "Are you still whole when you're not?" And if you are, you've already answered the question. You don't find peace by explaining it, you find it by living it. If this already made you pause for a second, hit like, and tell me below what question you have heard most in your life. You see, every question so far isn't about her. It's about whether you've met yourself yet. Have you ever explained your life instead of living it? The question that tests your ground. Richard Gere, now in his 70s, was once asked if dating younger women made him feel younger. The actor, known for Pretty Woman and for living quietly outside Hollywood's noise, just smiled and said, "No, it reminds me to stay curious." That's the power of a man who's comfortable in his own skin, because that's what this question is really about. Not youth, but presence. Most men think confidence is loud, that it's about having the right words, the right timing, the right tone. But real confidence? It's quiet. It's what stays steady when everything else tries to shake it. I've seen men lose it in a second. One playful question, and the armor cracks. She leans in, smiles, and says, "Do you date younger women?" It sounds like a joke, but it's not. It's a test, not of your morals, but of your center, because that's when she sees who you really are. Do you stand in your truth, or do you shrink to be liked? You can always tell. The nervous laugh, the fast words, the over-explanation, that's not confidence. That's guilt trying to sound polite. You don't owe the world an explanation for what feels honest to you. You only owe yourself truth. Attraction has never belonged to an age group. It belongs to presence, to energy, to clarity. The question isn't about her, it's about you. Are you free from shame? Freedom doesn't mean rebellion, it means peace. It's the stillness of a man who doesn't justify his choices, but also doesn't hurt anyone with them. He moves without apology, and that calm is magnetic. So when someone asks, "Do you date younger women?" don't rush, don't perform. Let silence do its job. Then speak from peace, not from defense. Maybe just say, "I date connection, not calendars." Because in the end, she's not testing your taste. She's testing your peace. And the man who stays calm under judgment has already passed every test that matters. Stillness doesn't mean you've stopped caring. It means you've stopped chasing. The question that reveals your center. She asks, "What kind of woman do you usually go for?" Her tone is light, maybe even teasing, but the eyes always tell the truth. She's scanning, not to judge, but to understand where you stand. Because that question isn't curiosity, it's a mirror. She wants to see if you'll build a list to impress her, or if you've lived long enough to know that real connection never fits a list. Most men rush in, they say, "I like someone kind, honest, low drama." And right there, the mystery dies. She leans forward a little, pretending to listen, but in her eyes, the spark fades. Because the moment you describe what you want too clearly, you stop being interesting. You turn presence into performance. She doesn't want your checklist. She wants your clarity. She's not asking for your taste. She's sensing your depth. She wants to feel that you're not out here chasing an idea. You're moving from truth. So when she asks that question, don't answer like you're filling out an application. Let her feel that you're not trying to win her. You're just being you. A man once told me, the kind of woman I go for, the kind who feels like home after silence. That line stayed with me. Not because it was clever, but because it came from a place of peace. He wasn't trying to sound deep. He just knew what he no longer needed. That's what growth really is. Not adding more, but wanting less. That's what changes with age. You stop looking for excitement and start craving alignment. You learn that peace isn't boring, it's sustainable, and the woman who fits that peace will never need to compete for it. When you speak from that space, you don't sound strategic. You sound settled. You don't explain preferences. You embody values. And people feel that difference immediately. So the next time someone asks, what kind of woman do you go for? Don't list traits. Don't overthink it. Maybe just smile and say, the kind that feels easy to be honest around. Because what she's really asking isn't, who do you like? She's asking, do you know yourself well enough to recognize peace when it stands in front of you? And when a man finally can, he doesn't chase anymore. He simply recognizes what belongs. And that's when life starts feeling light again, because you're no longer chasing what was never yours. You don't attract peace by wanting it. You become it by choosing truth. If this kind of truth speaks to you, subscribe, because this space is built for men who've stopped pretending and started living. The question that exposes your realness. Most men think charm is something you perform. A look, a smile, a few clever words, like lines rehearsed in front of a mirror. But real charm doesn't come from trying. It appears when you stop trying. You can feel it when someone's calm isn't an act, when kindness isn't strategy. That kind of energy doesn't chase reactions. It creates space. And that's when the room shifts, when people start breathing easier around you. Most men do. They rush to prove it, stacking jokes on top of silence. They turn warmth into performance, and the spark dies right there. Charm isn't what you add, it's what stays when no one's clapping. The minute you try to prove it, you lose it. So when that moment comes, stay still. Don't perform. Don't feed the tension. Just let the air breathe and maybe smile a little. Something simple like, only when it feels honest, says more than any clever line could. Because presence speaks louder than effort, and truth always lands softer than noise. That's the difference between charisma and peace. Charisma makes people notice you. Peace makes them remember you. I used to think being calm meant being distant. Now I know it just means I've stopped arguing with what already is. So when she asks again, are you always this charming? Don't rush to feed the moment. Let the silence hold its ground. Smile, maybe nod, and say, only when it's real. Because what she's really asking isn't about charm at all. It's whether the man in front of her is still performing for the world, or finally just being himself. And once you reach that point, you don't shine to be seen. You shine because you're at peace. Real charm isn't seen. It's felt when you no longer need an audience. The question that measures your worth. Winston Churchill, the British Prime Minister who led his nation through war, once said, solitary trees, if they grow at all, grow strong. He spent long nights alone, painting, writing, walking his garden while the world outside demanded noise. They called it eccentric. He called it peace because, even in power, he understood Solitude doesn't weaken a man, it refines him, and maybe that's what people still misunderstand today. They see a man who walks alone and they think something must be missing. That's when she asks softly, "Why don't you have a girlfriend?" She asks, "Why don't you have a girlfriend?" She looks at you a little longer than needed, like she's not sure if she's asking or reflecting. It sounds innocent, but it's not. It's not small talk. It's a scan. She's not really asking about your love life. She's testing something deeper, your sense of worth without someone beside you. Most men panic in that moment. They start defending themselves. They say, "I've been busy," or "haven't met the right person." But behind those words, what she hears is fear. The fear of being seen as unwanted. No one stays unwanted forever. It just takes the right soul to see you clearly. You can feel the shift. The air gets tight. Because when you explain too much, you hand her your frame. You turn calm into justification. The truth is, not having someone doesn't mean you're missing something. It often means you've stopped chasing what doesn't feel right. A man who's learned peace doesn't need to fill every silence with company. He's already at home in his own. Peace begins the moment you stop trying to fix what isn't broken. When a woman asks that question, she's curious about how you carry solitude. Do you wear it like a wound or like wisdom? Do you rush to prove you're fine, or do you let the quiet speak for itself? There's power in saying less. Something as simple as, "I've learned not to rush peace," carries more strength than 1,000 explanations. Because presence doesn't need validation. It radiates it. I once knew a man in his 40s who'd been single for years. At a dinner, someone asked him the same thing. "Why don't you have a girlfriend?" He smiled, leaned back, and said, "Because I stopped confusing attention with affection." The table went silent. Not because he was clever, but because everyone felt the truth of it. That's the kind of calm that can't be faked. The kind that comes from knowing you've made peace with your own company. The kind that says, "I'm not waiting, I'm choosing." So next time someone asks why you live the way you do, don't defend, don't shrink, let the question hang, smile if you feel like it, and maybe say, "Because I'm not done enjoying my freedom." Because what they're really asking isn't, "Why don't you have someone?" They're asking, "Are you still proud of who you are when you're alone?" And when your answer is yes, that's the moment solitude becomes strength. Because the right kind of love never finds you when you're chasing. It finds you when you've finally stopped running. Being alone stops feeling empty the moment you stop trying to fill it. Of course, it takes time. Peace isn't built in a day. But every small silence you stop fearing becomes part of it. Every question so far sounds simple, but it isn't. They're not testing your answers. They're testing your peace. If you've ever mistaken attention for affection, comment below, "I choose peace." The question that reveals if you're still alive inside. She asks softly, "Are you happy?" You smile, say something polite, "Yeah, I'm good." But she doesn't look convinced, because she wasn't asking for your words. She was watching your eyes. That's how women really ask this question. Not to check if you're okay, but to see if you're still here, still awake inside, still capable of feeling something real. Most older men miss that moment. They think she's trying to comfort them. But she's not. She's searching for signs of life, for the man behind the calm mask. What's one small habit that helps you feel alive again? I get it. It's not easy to stay soft in a world that rewards hardness. Because here's the truth. Peace without presence looks like emptiness. And women can sense the difference before you can. She tilts her head not to test you, but to see if you've quietly disappeared from yourself, if you've stopped feeling what you once fought for. You start choosing safety over spark. And one day, you realize you haven't truly felt anything in years. That's when she asks, "Are you happy?" And the silence that follows says more than you think. I've seen it. A man sitting across from someone who once set his world on fire, and yet he can't meet her eyes, not from apathy, but because he learned to hide his own light. That's the real reason some women lose interest. It's not your wrinkles. It's not your age. It's the way you stopped burning. The fire never dies. It only waits for you to breathe again. See, attraction isn't about youth. It's about aliveness. It's the quiet magnetism of someone who still feels the world, who still laughs, still notices, still wants. When she asks if you're happy, she's not asking for a checklist. She's asking if your spirit still shows up, if you've made peace with your story, if you can look her in the eye without hiding from your own reflection. Most men answer too quickly. They defend, they explain. But the ones who draw her closer are the ones who pause and simply say, "I'm learning to be." That's presence. That's power. That's what no age can take from you. Because real calm isn't lifeless. It's steady. It's the kind that carries warmth instead of weight. And here's the twist most men never see. When a woman senses that spark again, she doesn't fall for your words, because she's finally sitting across from a man who's alive again. So next time someone asks, "Are you happy?" don't rush to say yes. Take a breath. Let the question land. Because maybe she's not the one asking. Maybe it's life, checking if you're still paying attention. Every man reaches a point where silence asks louder than words. If you know someone who's forgotten how to listen to himself, share this with him. Sometimes all it takes is one reminder that he's not broken, just quiet. And that silence, it isn't empty. It's where life starts whispering again. The ones who listen live twice. Happiness isn't something you chase. It's what returns when you stop pretending you're fine. Do you always listen like this? She pauses mid-sentence, eyes narrowing slightly. Do you always listen like this? It sounds like a compliment, but it isn't. She's not rating your manners. She's scanning for your presence. Most men rush to fill silence. The grounded man lets it breathe. Most men listen to reply, not to understand. But peace listens to connect. Real listening isn't waiting to talk. It's holding a space calm enough for truth to appear. That's why it feels rare, and why people remember it. You can see it in the air around a calm man. Voices drop, stories unfold, tension fades. Because when someone finally feels heard, they stop performing too. Listening is self-control made visible. You don't interrupt because you're not afraid of silence. You don't fix because you're not threatened by feelings. You let the moment settle instead of steering it. Most men think attraction is built by what they say, but it's often built by what they refuse to force. Presence has its own gravity, the kind that doesn't chase attention, it earns peace. So when she asks, "Do you always listen like this?" don't deflect it or joke. A small smile is enough. Maybe say, "I just try to hear what matters." Because what she's really asking isn't about your ears. It's whether your attention is rented or yours to give. If it's rented, you chase. If it's yours, you choose. And that choice is power. Because people don't remember everything you say. They remember how safe they felt saying theirs around you. When was the last time someone felt safer just because you stayed quiet? Would you ever date someone like me? Keanu Reeves, the actor everyone calls the internet's boyfriend, was once asked why he never flirts back when people praise him online. He smiled and said, "I think silence is more elegant." That's presence, because real attraction isn't about saying yes, it's about staying still. Most men think attraction is about the right answer. They believe every compliment is an open door, and every door must be walked through. But the truth? Real attraction doesn't come from saying yes. It comes from staying still. You can tell who a man is by how he handles curiosity. Does he rush to please, or can he stay calm when the moment turns warm? Because charm without grounding is just noise. And peace, real peace, is quiet gravity. Then she leans in, voice soft, half teasing. "Would you ever date someone like me?" Her eyes aren't looking for words. They're scanning for your balance. She's not flirting. She's listening for vibration. She wants to feel if your calm is real or just something you wear until attention shows up. Most men panic in that silence. They laugh too loud. They try too hard. They spill their confidence trying to catch approval. But the grounded man, he pauses. He doesn't rush to fill the air. He just stays. That stillness is what she remembers, because presence never hurries. It doesn't chase. It doesn't fold under flattery. It simply holds its center and lets the world come closer. That's what this question really asks. Not, "Would you date me?" but, "Can you stay yourself when desire walks in the room?" So when it happens, don't treat it like a door you must run through. Let it open, let it breathe. Smile if you want to, say less, because the man who doesn't rush to claim is already the one who can't be replaced. When peace flirts with you, don't chase it. Match its calm. What about you? If someone asked, "Would you ever date someone like me?" how would you answer in 7 words? Drop it below. And if this voice of peace feels like home, stay. Subscribe. Are you always this calm? She asked it with a half smile, the kind that hides curiosity behind playfulness. Are you always this calm? She's not teasing. She's wondering how you stay still in a world that runs on reaction. How you don't rush to prove, defend, or impress. Most men try to answer. They say things like, "I've just learned not to care," or "I've seen too much." But that's not calm. That's exhaustion dressed as wisdom. Real calm isn't a wall. It's a window. It doesn't block the world out. It lets life move through you without knocking you down. She asks because she can feel it. Your silence has weight. Your eyes don't search for approval. Your voice doesn't need to win the room. It's not about being cold. It's about being clear. You've met chaos before, and instead of fighting it, you learn to breathe inside it. That's what she senses when she leans in. The steadiness of a man who doesn't chase comfort or run from discomfort. I once saw a moment like that. A woman arguing, frustrated, raising her voice, and the man across from her just listened. Not in arrogance, not in detachment. He waited, hands relaxed, eyes soft, and when she finally stopped, he said quietly, "I don't need to win this. I just want peace." You could see it in her face, confusion, then respect. Because peace isn't passive, it's power under control. That's what this question is really about. Are you always this calm? Means, can you stay yourself when everything else shakes? Most people lose themselves in the noise. They let emotions steer the ship. But the calm man, he lets the storm pass before he moves. That doesn't mean he doesn't feel. He just doesn't get lost. He feels everything and still chooses direction over reaction. And that's rare. That's why she asks, not to flirt, but to understand. Because calm men are mirrors. They show others how chaotic they've become. So when she asks, "Are you always this calm?" Don't joke, don't explain, just smile. Not out of pride, but gratitude. Because that question means you've crossed into something most men never reach. The kind of peace that doesn't need to be noticed. You don't answer it with words, you answer it by being. And that's not philosophy, it's how peace feels on an ordinary Tuesday. Calm isn't what happens when life gets easy, it's what remains when nothing else does. When was the last time you stayed calm when it mattered? She's silent now. No more playful tests, no more curious looks, because she's already found her answer. Not in what you said, but in what you didn't need to say. That's what happens when a man finally makes peace with himself. The world stops testing him. Life stops asking, "Are you sure?" You stop chasing proof. You stop auditioning for peace. You just live it. And when people meet you, they feel it. That grounded steadiness of a man who no longer performs for love, but moves from truth. It's not cold, it's warm in a quiet way. The kind that doesn't burn, it glows. That's the rarest thing left in this noisy world. A man who doesn't need attention to exist, who can walk through the noise and not lose his center. So if you've been wondering when your test ends, it's here. The moment you stop needing the question. Because once you become peace, the world has nothing left to ask. And maybe that's all we were ever meant to do. Live gently, love quietly, and let life meet us halfway. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. The man who no longer reacts doesn't become less human. He becomes whole. Maybe that's all peace ever was, feeling okay being human again. If this spoke to you, take a quiet moment, breathe, then come back here. This is Move or Die Stoic, where men learn to live without losing themselves.